Okay, so now on to page 3 of 6. Now look at some of your personal social values. All right. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Impulse is to softly disagree. Yeah, softly disagree. I have a problem with what I should be able to tell women what to do, and this does not specify the part of the pregnancy: first term, second term, third term, at conception. All that is left out of the question. So, because it's not in the question, I'm going to just go to the soft disagree. If you add more details to the question, this can fluctuate between strongly disagree to strongly agree. Like if it said abortion should always be an option, even up until like the 9th month or 8th month, I'd be like, I have a huge problem. That's gross. I got a problem with that one. So yeah, all authorities should be questioned. I strongly agree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth makes the whole world go blind or toothless. So I'm going to disagree. Even though there might be some times where it's like you need a punch back. Yeah. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I'm going to soft disagree. I feel like with theaters, there's some live theater stuff that I have no interest in. I have a bias against live theaters. I mean, you go to a movie theater. In college, I had this debate because part of a college class, we're required to go to theaters and then help build props for them. And I thought, this is ridiculous. This is not a learning experience. This is just because you guys can't afford to build your own sets. So you're making your students build them for a college class. That was ridiculous. So I have an animosity against live theater because of that. However, museums are about preservation of culture and history. That is important. That has value. So I'm going to soft disagree. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I'm going to soft disagree. But then again, it's one of those things where we had that story about Kamala Harris threatening to jail parents. And that I felt was kind of absurd. Like, because you didn't get your child to school, now you have to go to jail. That's absurd. So the idea is like students, like the society is invested in students being educated. You have a bunch of dummies, that's not good for your society. It makes it weak. However, does that mean the government should have the power to send an officer with a gun to put you in jail? I don't like that either. You see how like I'm back and forth on this one, where it's like there's a social value to have everyone educated, but the philosophical problem with now the government has the ability to jail you because of it, like that seems... If you see me struggling with this question and you're like, oh, this is what you need to know, or here's something to consider, put a time code, put your opinion. All people have their rights, but is it better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind? Ugh. I'm going to strongly... That does not sound good. That one sounds bad. I don't like that one. Hold on. I got to make sure I answered that one right, because that's one of those things where if I read it wrong and accidentally said disagree or agree, that really skews the test. So all people have their rights. I agree. But it's better for all of us that different sorts of people... Okay, I strongly disagree. So, yes, I did answer that one correctly. Let's be delicate on that one. Like, I don't want to accidentally answer that wrong and then everyone on YouTube might be saying, oh, that guy's a racist. Like, no, that's... Okay, that's correct. Good. So, good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Nah, disagree. That's a tough one. A good parent can... even better parent could find a way to not have to spank their kids. But... Man, I got 2 boys, and trust me, there's times where it's like, dude, like, you're on your way for a spanking. You got to cut that out. Because, like, you'll ask nicely, and then you'll ask not nicely, and then you'll be like, okay, now You know better. So it's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree. Yeah, I think that's not new. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Yeah, I strongly agree. The prohibition of marijuana has been nothing but sort of profit seeking for seems like private prisons. Like there's a whole economy based off criminalizing marijuana that it's not helping us. So I'm going to strongly agree. Prime function of schooling should be equip the future generation to find jobs. I mean, I guess my thinking is an educated public, it generally makes society stronger. It not necessarily means they have to have jobs, but yeah, it increases their ability to contribute in the future. I don't know. That question has some nuance to it that I'll just go to soft agree. People with seriously inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Wow. Like what disabilities? That's gross. Oh, I'm doing this on camera. I disagree. What inheritable disabilities though? And what's the prospects for it to be, passed on, inherited? Like if someone has a disability and it's like, oh, it's a 1% chance that the next of kin could have it. I'm like, well, that's not enough. But if it's like 100%, I don't know. I'm going to disagree. That sounds really dicey where you can go down a dark road when you start agreeing with that. So I'm going to disagree. But at the same time, like here's the thing. If it's me, if I had something that I knew was an inheritable disability that's going to be a burden on everybody else around it, the child, I would just choose not to have children. Right? I mean, that's me. So, but for society to mandate it on a person, I don't like that either. That's kind of a conservative angle. But, ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. If you want to touch that hot burner, put in the comments and with the time code to like the point in the video. I do not like that one. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Yeah, I guess what kind of discipline? Does discipline mean the authority of someone else, or just a discipline meaning, wake up on time, get your chores done, do your job, take care of your family? Like that's a discipline. Just having a routine or a skill set that you've nurtured and grown, like that's a discipline. But does discipline mean authority? If discipline means authority, then I start to disagree. But that's how I understand discipline. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I'm going to disagree. What? The word savage, I feel like, has some racial connotations. Like people don't like it. Civilized people, there's different. Well, I don't know. What are you talking about? This is silly. I get the definition of civilized, as far as what we recognize as civilized, is certainly different from what some people would call savage. But why does it have to be the word savage? Why not civilized and uncivilized? I guess it depends on what you package with the word savage or infer with it. My understanding is just, does one society build roads, electrical utilities, and water management like that? That's how I see it. There is like a 99% chance someone's going to call me racist at the end of this, which, I mean, I don't see myself as racist, but you can see how the ambiguity in some of these words and questions can create different interpretations. Like what I say is civilized versus what you say is civilized is different. And true with a lot of different words. So those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. What support? I'm going to disagree. I still think that person should have access to health care. Able to work, refuse the opportunity. And it's kind of funny to say you have the opportunity to work. Like it's like you've been bestowed or blessed with this. And you're not, like, sometimes work is not a blessed thing. Okay? Like it's like if you don't like, if you're one of those people that are like all about freedom, and then you say, if you don't work, you deserve to starve. Like, that's not really freedom. That's society dictating to the person, you either work or you die. You either work or you starve to death. That's the system we currently, well, we don't live in that system per se, but that mentality certainly exists in our American culture. You either work or you should starve to death. That's kind of inferred in some of this, and I don't believe in that. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. That's why I'm going to do a soft disagree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I'm going to strongly disagree. I think if you're troubled by something, you should probably address that because it's going to burden you in some form or fashion. So, strongly disagree. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Fully integrated. That's a tough word. Fully integrated. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean to be fully integrated? I'm going to go, like, I feel like it's known that first generation immigrants are always going to struggle with some sort of aspect of adapting, like learning the new language when they're later in life. That's always going to be a struggle. Like if you immigrate to another country, in your 40s and 50s, you're going to have a hard time learning that language. I feel like that language barrier, or maybe even a cultural barrier, will always have some sort of, I don't know. Now I feel like I'm talking myself into agreeing with this. Because it's always like the second, third, and fourth generation, you see them get more Americanized or more integrated. Like I'm talking about this, I'm answering these questions from the context of like from the American United States. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't like these questions. This one's tough. So what's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Nope. Strongly disagree. Again, they go back to that example where Nestle had some contaminated baby formula. It was profitable for them to ship it to Africa and make people sick there. That's not good for us. That's not good for everybody. And it happens a lot of times. Flint, Michigan, it was good for a corporation to reroute the water to a factory. And based on like how they changed the routing, certain elements, or I forget what happened, but basically a different type of water was put into the Flint, Michigan water system, and it corroded the pipes and it leached lead into the water. Now, sure, that car plant or whatever was using it probably profited fine off of that, but the entire community, not good. So I'm going to strongly disagree. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I'm going to soft disagree. Because I think a society could have a vested interest in what's being broadcasted. So, soft disagree. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Time code it and put your comment. All right, that is test number 3. We'll do 4, 5, and 6 yet.